Yo, 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 welcome to another episode of Empire Jeff TV. I am your host, Empire Jeff, coming to you on a Thursday night live from Los Angeles, California. And tonight we are going to talk some Los Angeles Dodgers off-season news, some rumors, some signings, and what could happen this coming weekend at the winter meetings, I believe in Orlando, Florida this year. So it should be an interesting couple of days, some rumors flying around, and let's see what actually comes out of those rumors, because we had a wild one today. We'll touch on that. Talking about yesterday's news in the re-signing of Miggy Ro, World Series hero Miggy Ro, aka Miguel Rojas, and all of his contributions to the back-to-back World Series championship with his defense and his bat, and what could be considered one of the, if not the biggest home run in Dodger history, that Game 7 game-tying home run in the top of the ninth in Toronto in Game 7. So Miggy Ro back in blue, back in Dodger blue, 1 year, $5.5 million in what is going to be his last year as a player. And then he will transition into the front office in some type of player development role, front office or coaching staff, whatever. And I think that is an excellent move by the Dodgers, an excellent plan moving forward. And I'm really happy that's going to be the case. I've kind of had this thing where I've been saying I can kind of see the transition happening here, of Miggy going into staying with the organization for a long time. I could see Kike, if he wanted to, doing something like that too. But Miggy Ro being that vet, the vet's vet, someone that's going to stick around for quite some time with the Dodgers and has potential to be a manager in Major League Baseball one day. And then kind of Max Muncy potentially taking the Miggy Ro role as the veteran off the bench once his contract expires next year. I could kind of see all this coming to fruition now. And as we get closer and closer to the end of Muncy's career, and we are now one season away from the end of Miguel Rojas' career. So I think that's a great deal. He earned it. Look, even without those contributions in Game 6 and Game 7 of the World Series that I mentioned, I still think Miggy Ro was coming back. I still think he was going to play his final year as a Dodger and then retire. I think this plan and this kind of discussion was in play already. He had kind of talked about it before. Everyone kind of forgot that he had said that earlier in the year, before it got said, during the World Series championship parade. He had already said that. He had talked about it before, that he was going to play one more year with the Dodgers and then retire. So that led me to believe that they were kind of already in talks. I don't necessarily want to say there was an extension in talks, but there were definitely probably talks of, when he becomes a free agent, what does the deal look like? What are we thinking here? And the Dodgers and Miggy Ro and his representation got it done. And he is now back with the Dodgers for another year. Again, great for him, great for the team, great for the future young players, great for the minor leaguers, great for the guys they're going to draft, especially those from the Latin communities. He is, like I said, he is the OG on the Dodgers when it comes to being that reliable, trusted vet. And, Mookie Betts, who first full season as a shortstop, going through that and all the ups and downs and the struggles that he had last year, and Miggy Ro was kind of like his Yoda, is what he was saying, like in his corner, the guy that had helped him out a lot in that transition to shortstop, and a guy that really, really was his guy to lean on during his struggles of learning that new position at 32 years old, that far along into his MLB career, which is a time where most guys are moving off of shortstop and moving to third base or second base or wherever. Mookie Betts moved to shortstop at 32, and Miguel Rojas was one of his biggest kind of ears. He had his ear. He would listen to Mookie, hear him out, and then offer advice, and vice versa. And then when Miguel Rojas went through his struggles, Mookie was the guy telling him, stay ready. You're going to make a play. You're going to do something to help us. I've often said that too, that Miggy Ro would probably help us win a playoff game. I had no idea to the extent of what he did in Game 6 and Game 7. But Miggy Ro just had the makings of that guy that was probably going to have a moment or two in a series to help, swing a series or swing a game. And he took those expectations, squashed it like a bug, and said, hold my beer. Let me show you what I could really do. And now he's back. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Are you happy Miggy Ro is back? Do you think that deal is fair? What do you think about his post-playing career, working with the Dodgers on player development? Let me know what you guys think. I see you guys in the chat here. I'll get your chats in a second here, but I see you, Lewis. Appreciate you. Laker Girl, appreciate you. Don't care. I see you, man. Daniel Barry, I see you. Appreciate y'all, man, for coming in here early and showing up, man. Don't care. Again, we got was that Bernard on Facebook? I appreciate you, man. Steph Kent Curry, David. So appreciate. I'll put all your guys' comments on here, your chats on the screen in a second. But yeah, so Miggy Ro, I'm excited to see what he can do with these young guys when he's in spring training and he's not playing, or they, send him down to the minors, or when like a key young infielder may come up, maybe he makes a trip with them to help the transition. Like things like this really matter when you have a guy like that who's had a moment like that coming off the World Series. It's still fresh in their minds that what this guy just did. He was a hero, and now he's going to be working with me on my game defensively and offensively. It just gives you all the cliche that you need, all the baseball diamond credit, street credit, whatever you want to call it, when you're talking to these young guys. Because when you're kind of like a vet that's a veteran role player who's a backup infielder, not an everyday starter, and you go on, you're talking to these guys, yeah, they're going to respect the amount of time, your service time, the time you put in the league, the great players you played with, and all the great work you put in, the fundamentals and all that. But they're not looking at you like a 5-time, 10-time All-Star. They're not looking at you as a Hall of Famer. What Miggy Ro did is he gave himself an opportunity that when he's trying to show these kids how to play the game right, how to play the game the right way, how to defend, how to hit, when he's teaching them how to do all this, they're not just going to look at him as a role player. They're going to look at him as a long-term vet who also was a star in the World Series and will go down as a Los Angeles Dodger legend for what he did in the World Series in Toronto. So that is only going to help him as he is out here trying to teach these young men how to play the game right, be professional, and help your team win, because that is what Miggy Ro is all about. And he gets to teach the Dodger youngbloods how to do that the right way, man. So excited about that. Excited about that for Miggy Ro, because, you never really heard anyone say anything bad about him. You had Jazz Chisholm kind of pop off, that one time, but Jazz is Jazz. He be talking wild sometimes. And, he kind of tried to play Miggy Ro as to be something else when so many people came to the defense of that and spoke, up highly of him. And we're lucky to have him. We're lucky to have him. And if we don't have him, we don't win a World Series. We don't go back to back. And, we are sitting here having different shows and different conversations and a different fall and a different winter without Miguel Rojas. So he's back. And the Dodgers are going to be better because of it. Look, I'm not going to say he's going to have a fantastic season. He's going to be an all-star. That'd be crazy. But his final year in blue is something that I'm excited to see. We had Kershaw's final year last year. We're going to have Miggy Ro's final year this year. And Miggy Ro's no Kershaw. Let's not get it twisted. But being able to, once again, a Dodger hero, to be able to play his final season in Dodger blue and be celebrated for the whole season for that, I'm with it. I'm with it. So on that note, we had another one of these goofy rumors hit the scene today. We had one earlier in the offseason. They were talking about Tyler Glasnow potentially being a trade target. I immediately kind of saw that as just kind of clickbait or just flat out rumor talk that just never made sense to me. He doesn't make anywhere near as much sense on any other team than the Dodgers. I've talked about it. A guy that's above 30, making more than $30 million a year, who can miss a good chunk of the season with injuries and the team be fine with it because of their depth in their starting rotation. And not only their depth, but their superstar depth in their starting rotation. I don't know what other team could carry that type of risk. So he's perfect for the Dodgers. The Dodgers are perfect for him. That never made sense. Now, the Teoscar Hernandez one, while you could apply some logic to it, like Ken Rosenthal said in his report, I still don't think that it's realistic. I don't think that this even came from the Dodgers. I think this probably came from an agent or a team that has talked with the Dodgers and made a proposal and kind of looked at a framework of what a big deal would be. And they said, okay, what if we ask for Teo, could he be in this? And the Dodgers were maybe say, well, let's see what it looks like. Let's see where it goes. But because a player is in conversations and because a player is mentioned, it does not mean that the team, being the Dodgers, is actively shopping or looking to trade Teoscar Hernandez, because that simply is not the case. They're not out there picking up their phone, dialing other ball clubs and saying, hey, give me your best offer for Teoscar. They're not doing that. What will you give up for Teo? They're not doing that. What they're doing is They're having conversations. They're seeing where it goes. They're seeing what players other teams have interest in. How far down the path of a deal, of a framework, can you get before it falls apart? Before it falls apart, like if you're going after a really good player, you're going to have to give up a really good player or really good players. And to start those conversations about a really good player, you have to put one of your really good players in the conversation. You got to give to get in a trade, right? Especially if you're talking with someone who knows what the heck they're doing, which most GMs do. And so he may have entered the chat at some point. He may have entered talks at some point. And then the Dodgers like, okay, no, it's not. We're not going to trade him for this guy. We're not going to trade him for this guy. We're not going to trade him for that guy. But who knows who the conversations were? Who knew who they were? It could be someone calling, hey, we got this guy, maybe, for instance, Texas. Texas called, just said, okay, we're going to send you Corey Seager. What about Teo? The money work, 2 more years left on that deal. Third year team option. What does that look like? Because if you get Seager, maybe Mookie goes back to right. You don't really have a need for Teo at that point. We could play him for a year or two, something like that. And this is just a hypothetical. This is just an example of how his name would come up. The name would come up because another team has mentioned him, and it's not that like the Dodgers are out there shopping him or being the instigator in the Teoscar Hernandez trade talks. That's not what's happening. And the reason I'm fairly confident in this is because I had talks with someone during the season. Teo was struggling. He came out, started the year, looked fantastic. Then he had his injuries. He just never was the same. Him and Edmund, I've talked about this till exhaustion about that same scenario. And I asked someone, I go, hey, look, at some point during this contract, do you think Teo will be traded? Like, do you think it's realistic? Like, he had such a great 2024. Can he sustain that? Can he maintain that? And what happens if he doesn't? What do the Dodgers do? And what I heard back was after year one, and it's not like it was a bad contract, but after year one, it becomes so much easier to trade him if you need to, because if you trade him somewhere, he'll probably, if it's a team that's not in the playoffs, he'll probably get flipped again to a contender or a team that's in the playoffs, because he can get you a dinger or two come playoff time that can help you win a game or a series. So a team will trade for him to move him later, or a playoff team will trade for him after that. So he said it will not be a very difficult contract to move. That third year is at a team option. 2 years of a guy who can hit 30 home runs a season. You can move him after that for sure. So I said, okay, but would the Dodgers be motivated to move him if he's playing well, or if this is just to get him out of there because of his defense? If the Dodgers are like, look, we can't DH him. He's killing us defensively. We got to move him to another team so we can be a DH somewhere. And they're like, yeah, they won't have any problem moving him. But again, I got pushback because they're like, he is beyond loved in the clubhouse. He is beyond loved by the fan base, and he is loved by the organization. The organization really does love Teo, top to bottom, and the fans love him too. So the only way they really move him is probably if the fans completely turn on him and the organization turns on him, because we've seen before where the fans will turn on a player and the Dodgers don't care. The Dodgers do not care what we think. They don't care what we think about their players. They don't care what we think about their manager. They do not care, because in their minds, they know more than we do, and they do. In their minds, they know more than we do. They know the situation, and they're not going to trade a player simply because he's struggling. The fans gave up on him. They don't do that. They would have done that with Conforto. They would have done it with Taylor. They would have done it with Barnes. They would have done it. Now, there was a point where it reached where maybe those guys you really couldn't move, but they could have done it earlier, and they didn't. So that's just not really what they do. That's not really how they go about it. But it is interesting conversation. But I got pushback, and this was during the season. And I hit that person up today again, and I asked him, hey, so that conversation we had earlier, what do you think now? And he just put LOL. So it's like, yeah, there wasn't even like a conversation. He was basically like, go away. Go away. You're being annoying. You already asked me this. I gave you my answer. Go away. This isn't happening. Now, watch us wake up tomorrow and the deal be done. But I don't think it's going to happen. It probably won't go. It probably won't happen. And I don't believe that it will happen. And I don't think it should happen. Look, he had a bad year. He was hurt. It's not abnormal. And for a guy to have a great season and then a fall off season, and it just happened to Teo. Injuries took him down. It sucks. And it happens, man. So appreciate y'all for tuning in. Once again, I'm Empire Jeff. This is Empire Jeff TV. We are talking Los Angeles Dodgers. I see y'all in the chat. I'm getting DMs. I'm getting people hit me up about basketball. I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer because I don't want to promise something I can't deliver. I keep intending to. I keep trying to. My problem is I haven't been able to get home. Like I got the game on right now because I wasn't able to watch it live. I listened to it, but I wasn't able to watch it. So for me, it's really hard. I know a lot of people do it. I know a lot of people get up here, cover basketball, have no idea what they're talking about, and do shows. I cannot get up. If I didn't watch the game, if I can't break it down, I can't fake the funk with y'all. I can't get up here and not be able to give my best. And if I'm in traffic or I'm getting out of work a little late and I didn't have a chance to watch the entire game to get up here and give it a fair assessment, I can't get up here and do shows on it. I just can't do it. I can't do it. There's enough people doing that. I don't want to do that. So hopefully, it is my hope. Some of the things I got going on are starting to wind down a little bit, and I'm hoping that I will be able to get started with basketball again soon. I want to. I'm starting to miss it a little bit. I haven't missed basketball in a while. Starting to miss it a little bit. It's probably because I'm getting further and further away from the baseball season that just ended, and because I was so involved in covering baseball and so buried in that and such a great run, just couldn't really escape that yet. Baseball still has me. Haven't been able to escape that yet. But soon, eventually, probably after the winter meetings, it's going to be a real peak of the MLB offseason. Then it's going to die down for a little bit between that and spring training, and I'll be back. I'll be back for basketball. I know. I'm getting people hitting me up, and I do want to go back. And I've got people from the chat. I got other content creators reaching out. I've kept lines open. I just haven't really had the time to do both sports yet, and picking between the two, I'm still Dodger blueing it right now. So, but soon, I need to get acclimated again. Get a run of 2 weeks watching games enough to I don't pull up and just pull a Charles Barkley on y'all. Get up here and talk basketball when I haven't been watching the games enough to have an informed opinion or trusted opinion. Not that I don't know how many people trust me or don't, but I don't want to pull up like that. You know what I mean? So baseball for a little while longer, and then I'll be back on basketball for sure. Because like I said, I want to do it, but I want to do it right. I came into this game being that dude that never cheated it, never sugarcoated it, never gimmicked it, never narrated it, nothing. Just gave you the real deal. And all just non-narrative talk, and that's what I want to get back to. But I gotta watch the games in order to do that. I can't pull up and talk sports on a game I didn't just watch. You know what I mean? So can't do that. I saw what happened at the end of this game. I saw the play. I'm watching the replay right now because I wasn't home, but I'm not able to do it yet. So appreciate y'all for looking. Appreciate y'all for asking. I'll be back for Purple and Gold soon. I just got to be a little bit more informed. So appreciate y'all for checking on your boy though. All right, who we got here? Lewis, appreciate you, man, for pulling up. As always, what's good, my brother Jeff? Get the likes up and subscribe to the channel. If you are new, tell a friend or a family member about the channel and share the channel. Become a member to the channel. Absolutely. Laker girl, what up? Appreciate you. So, bro, hit that button, subscribe if you're new. Absolutely. Here we go. Let's go, Dodgers. Facts don't care. What's up, brother? Hit the like, subscribe. There we go. Listen to the people, man. Don't care said, are all the sports writers bored this winter? What with all these BS rumors? First class now Teo. Now, who's next? Ohtani? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's funny. They used to call it the dog days of summer when all you had left was baseball. And now I feel it's like the dog days of fall when baseball's gone and you just need to make up stuff to carry people, because so many people like myself were so addicted to this baseball season. And so I've never seen so many people all in on a baseball season like this last one. And I love it. I love it because there's so many more people to talk baseball with, and there's so many more people to create baseball content for. And it doing this has kind of opened some doors for me in a lot of different ways. I've been able to gain a little bit more access to a couple of things, build a little bit more relationships, network, some conversations with people, and really been able to kind of be taken to places from a sports commentary, like content creating communication standpoint that I might not always have with basketball, right? So it's been a really, really good great 2 years of covering baseball, and I just really enjoyed it. And I've been happy doing it. So let's see. Daniel Berry, what's going on, my guy? Happy Thursday. What's up, everyone? What's up to you? Said go Lakers. Absolutely. Rui him, go Dodgers. Speaking of, make sure if you guys have not done so already, make sure to get your MLB, NBA, NFL gear and more. Make sure to use our link at Fanatics to get special discounts, and your purchase also helps support the channel. We've partnered with the good people at Fanatics, so when you order through them via us, they take care of us because we sent you their way. The same great merch, the same great stuff you'd buy anyways. You just help support the channel by doing so, and sometimes you get some extra discounts on top of it. Let's see. Don't Care says Miggy Ro is back. Yes, sir. Miggy Ro is back, and I'm excited for it. Let's see. What's up the update on Kike? So Kike is recovering from surgery. There's no real rush. Kike, like the last 2 years prior, is probably going to sign closer to spring training when the rosters expand. They put guys on a 60-day IL. They get more spots. Kike, I believe, I would say I'm like 90% sure Kike will be back, but it's not going to be like anytime soon. They have 2 spots left on the 40-man roster. They're not going to use one on Kike. They don't have to. They'll sign him closer to spring training when rosters expand. Stephanie Kent Curry, what's up, brother? Yeah, Dodgers are not trading Teoscar, plus his contract lines up perfectly with Freddie's contract, so both will be off the books at the same time for Dodgers to spend again in the future. Big facts there. This is true. This is all the way true. We got David says, will the Dodgers sign any big name free agents this offseason? So big name, I would say that the only big name the Dodgers might sign, and I'm still not convinced this is going to happen. I'm convinced they're in it, but I'm not convinced they're going to get to the level of what it might take to do it, and that's Edwin Diaz. I think that's the biggest name the Dodgers might sign. Now, trades is a whole different story. The Dodgers are linked or could trade for a plethora of people. There remains to be seen who. But as far as a big name free agent signing, the only big name I could foresee the Dodgers even being remotely in the mix for is Edwin Diaz. I do not believe they're in the mix for Kyle Tucker. I know they're still linked to Cody Bellinger. I don't believe that is going to happen. Maybe it does. It almost happened before. It almost happened 2 years ago. And maybe it could happen. I don't think it will, but we will wait and see what happens. Drip Show, what's up, brother? EmpireJeffTV, the best two-way channel on YouTube. Talk to him, brother. Talk to him. Appreciate it. I got to start doing more NBA to begin to claim the two-way crown, though. I can't fake the funk there, but soon. Appreciate you, brother. Make sure to go support Drip Show. Check out the videos I've done. Check out everyone's videos with all the incredible. Look, I got Mookie over my shoulder here. Got Mookie FM Bets over my shoulder right here. That's designed by Drip Show. Can you see Kobe in the other? The light there. There's Kobe over there, and Lucky's over here. He's on a pillow that Drip Show created as well. So shout out my brother Drip Show. Been down with him for years. Ground floor level entry to the graphic guide. New graphic guide before anyone knew graphic guide, man. Was putting in the work way back. Happy to see him get that shine now. Appreciate you, brother. What's going on, Aaron? Yeah, welcome home, Miguel. Absolutely. Miggy's all about the team, gave his number away to Roki. Exactly. That's exactly what Miggy is. He is team first. He's that dude. He is that vet, and he is that Dodger once more. And this is why I bury my head in the sand with stupid rumors. Yeah, Aaron. I exactly. You know what? I mean, I'm always that dude that made fun of, like, I always made fun of people. I was doing the NBA coverage when I was like, bro, you guys cannot see a mile away the meaning behind this trade rumor. You can't see it. I remember that trade deadline when I was doing like a trade. I don't know if it was a trade deadline special or a video leading up, and everyone was just in my comment section going berserk about DeJounte Murray. Berserk, right? And I kept telling you, one, they're not doing it, and two, they shouldn't do it. And I was getting killed for that. And it's like, you guys don't realize this rumor is fake. Like, it's not going to happen. There's no world where it happens. It's not going to happen. And people were so convinced. Throw away everything for him. Like, guys, like, you got to be able to like see these rumors and take them for what they are and realize that the media is a business. It's a business. They got to sell them clicks. They got to sell that stuff. And people be falling for this stuff way too easy. Teoscar is about to have a career year. That'd be great, considering he just had probably one of his worst years since his rookie season last year. But again, I don't blame it on anything other than injuries. I know a lot of people really paid more attention to the defense and the offense, but I believe the injuries hurt his defense and his offense. Not that his defense was ever great, but it made him worse, and offense made him worse. And again, I will continue to say this over and over again. When you think for yourself and you remove narratives and you actually go in and look at the data, he is a worse left fielder than a right fielder. I know that's not what the narrative tells you. I know that's not what the internet tells you. But he had a better, this is as crazy as it sounds, he had a better year in right last year than he did in left in 2024. But no one noticed how bad he was in 2024 because he was healthy and he had a monster year offensively. So nobody cared. Nobody cared. As soon as he goes to right field, he's injured. The bat isn't what it was in 2024. Now they're paying attention to every little thing that he does wrong in the outfield. But at the end of the day, he was worse in left in 2024 than he was in right in 2025. And that's just men lie, women lie. Numbers don't. It's a simple fact. It's the truth. It's the truth. What's going on, Nico? Appreciate you, brother. Hey, bro, when you're going back to doing Laker post-game shows, Lakers are killing it right now. I know. I touched on that. And again, soon. What's going on, Shando? Yo, what's good? Is Jeff full-time Dodger mode now? I'm full-time Dodger mode for sure. But I'll be back. I'm telling you, I'll be back. Covering basketball. Lakers Dodgers for life. What's going on, brother? Appreciate you, bro. Jeff putting in the overtime. The OT, man. Yeah, I got home today. I was like, you know what? I wasn't feeling great last night. I was tired. I was like, man, I was going to do a show last night and do back-to-back nights. Didn't do it. But I got a bunch of clips out, filmed a bunch of content. So I got some stuff coming. So appreciate you for tuning in as well, man. Joseph. What's going on, Joe? Appreciate you. Joe, the experiment. I've said that right like 3 or 4 straight times now. Come on. Shout out to me. Shout out to me, man. I don't know why for the longest time I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't say the name right. I have no idea why. Why not put Teoscar in left and trade for a center fielder? So I just touched on that. They still could technically work out a center fielder move, but Teo, I believe, will. I don't believe Teo is going back to left. I just don't see it. Dan Inspiration, what's going on, man? You think Teo would be in a trade mix for Skubal, like Teo, Sheehan, and a prospect for Skubal? So that's what I'm saying. So it could be, and that's that. Let's stop here for a second, because that's exactly like another type of scenario. I gave the Seager scenario. Now, if you're going to go get someone that's really good with a team that still wants to, potentially play for a playoff spot, not bottom out. So if you're going to go for like a Skubal, if you're going to go for like a Corey Seager, if you're going to go for someone like that. Now, if you're going for someone like a Paul Skeens, Pittsburgh won't have any interest in Teo. Like we don't need him. We're going to bottom out, right? They could trade for him and then flip him. But as far as like a guy they would trade for and keep for years, they would have no interest in that, right? So a Texas, a Detroit for Skubal, or something like that, like a Minnesota for Buxton. I could see his name being discussed in multiple different packages. So the Dodgers, the way they operate, I've been told about this numerous times. The way the Dodgers do it, they kind of present like options, like they go like they'll give you like these 4 little, they kind of 4 square you, right? Which one do you want to pick here? And maybe in one of those frameworks, Teo's name is there. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's a deal that they'll do or consider, but what they'll do is they'll throw some things out there, and maybe of the 4 options, one of those deals they'll do in a second. The other 2 or 3 may just be to start a conversation, to gauge interest. What are they looking for? What are they looking for? There's a lot of in negotiation. There's a lot of game within the game and mind games. An offer you give may not be an offer you're going to do, right? This is where you start at. Let's see. Do they have interest in these combination of 4 players? And why? Or do they have an interest in Teo because it's a guy with power? Or do they have an interest because they're going to want an outfielder? And then you kind of use this to feel it out. And then maybe you pull Teo out and you pull one of the guys from the other equation in there, and then you start building on that framework. So Teo could have been in one of those options that was presented to a team when they went back and forth and then got pulled back out, because that's what the Dodgers do. And that's very, very easy to assume that that's what happened. But Teo's name, I would expect there are only 3 guys, 4 guys for sure. There's probably more than this, but 4 guys for sure that will never be even discussed in trade talks. And that is Shohei Ohtani, that's Yamamoto, that's Mookie Betts, and that's Freddie Freeman. No way. You could say Roki, you could argue Snell, you could say these. But those 4, slam dunk, no way in hell, not available. Not available. And anything outside of that is a conversation. It's a conversation because you got to take the call. You got to take the call. And you also got to be open-minded and negotiating in good faith. So if there's a guy you really want on the other team and they're talking about a guy you really don't want to move, but you're asking for a guy that they really don't want to move either. So you've got to start to find a middle ground there. You got to meet in the middle somehow. You got to give to get. And the Dodgers could have used Teo's name in that because, like I said, those 4 off limits. No way in hell. No way in hell. So you start going down the line, Muncy, Teo, Pages, Edman. You start to run out of players that you can trade that's MLB ready, fringe, tearing towards all-star, that teams would hold high value in, that they could acquire to play on a playoff team and deliver in October. So that's how Teo ends up in those talks. But they're just that. They're just talks. If the Teo was to get traded, it would be for a prime player. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. And that's exactly what I mean. What's going on, Roy? Appreciate you, brother. Jeff, if the Blue Jays sign Tucker, there's a good chance Dodgers could be in Bichette. Good to see you. Good to see you as well. And yeah, I've been talking about that for a hot minute. I said the only way that Diaz or Bichette ends up with the Dodgers is if their incumbent team botches it. There's 2 ways it can go wrong for Toronto. I've touched on this a few times, right? They could sign Tucker and Bo's out of there. Or this Tucker thing could drag out and Bo gets impatient because some of the offers he has may start to dry up and he doesn't want to lose all of them to lose leverage. So let's say there's 5 teams right now offering Bo 180 to 220. And let's say 2 of the guys pull out. Once, and then you're left with Toronto and 2 other teams. If one of those other teams pull out and it's just a team in Toronto and Toronto's still waiting on Tucker, Bo may not wait. And with that team being the Dodgers, I could see it happening. Will it? Maybe. But I don't see them getting Bichette and Tucker, meaning Toronto. And I don't think the Dodgers are going to go after Tucker if the Blue Jays don't get Tucker. I do struggle to see where does Tucker go if the Blue Jays don't do it, though. Like, if the Blue Jays don't do it, where does he go? I'm really surprised the Giants haven't got all in on him. I'm really surprised at that. But where does Tucker go? Are the Yankees going to pay? Do the Mets get frisky there? If Toronto doesn't offer the big bag, like, where does it go? Where does he end up? But if this takes a while, then Bichette could happen for the Dodgers. If Diaz takes a while with the Mets and they just don't come with it, Diaz could end up a Dodger. But the Dodgers have to wait this out. The Dodgers will do this. They will wait it out. Like, I will wait. And that's how they miss out on guys with this approach. But they also snag guys with this approach. So there's a 50-50 chance here. I don't think the Dodgers are the favorites in either one of them. But they'll be the favorite if these guys mess up. Because all it takes when you're the favorite is to all of a sudden not be. It's all it takes. That is all it takes. And the Dodgers were not the favorite to get Yamamoto in the beginning. People had him going to the Giants. People had him going to the Yankees. I was the only one out here saying he's a Dodger, y'all. He is a Dodger. Trust me. People didn't think they'd get Teoscar Hernandez. I was out here saying he's a Dodger, y'all. Trust me. Tyler Glasnow, I was telling y'all 2 weeks before that trade happened. He's a Dodger, y'all. Trust me. I got so much pushback on that. So for me, it's hard with these two because the other teams have to mess up. So for me, it's not like the Mets, or excuse me, it's not like Diaz and the Dodgers are just negotiating exclusively and it's the Dodgers to lose, or Bichette and it's the Dodgers to lose. It's not that. The home team has the leverage, has the higher chance for both those guys until they don't. Until they don't. Until they don't. Joe, I'll be back soon. Jeff, no. I probably won't even be creating content in 33. Like, but yeah, no, hey, man, I can't do it until I feel right about it. I just can't do it. I just can't do it. There's enough people faking the funk. They don't need me to do the same. Let's see. What's going on, J-Rod? Teo had some clutch home runs during the playoff run. Absolutely. And that's what I'm saying. That's why he wouldn't be hard to trade if they wanted to, but I don't think that they're out there actively shopping him. I just don't. Teoscar also had that great playing extra innings of game 3 of the World Series to keep it tight. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Teo was hurt, y'all. That was his biggest problem. And I do think that if he's healthy, the bat comes back. And if you look at a lot of those plays, people were calling him lazy, but the hamstring, the groin, I don't believe he could physically run out those plays. I just don't think he could. Don't care says, I'm going to try and hit spring training for the first time ever next year, though. Withdrawals already. It really hurt that I couldn't go last year. It was impossible. I just couldn't with what was going on. But Lord willing, things have kind of. I don't want to count these chickens before they're hatched, but things are starting to turn a corner here in the right way for the first time in almost 2 years. So I'm hopeful, but family first, man. But I hope so. Let's see. What's going on, Showtime? Trey Teoscar, sure, if the Red Sox give us Garrett Crochet. Yeah, that's not going to happen. And the Dodgers could have traded for Garrett Crochet. They didn't, right? They didn't really, sounds weird to say they didn't need him, but they really didn't. Joe says, wait a minute. Sorry, my screen is, there we go. Question is, do the Dodgers let Freddie go when his contract is over? Does he leave? That's going to be very interesting, especially considering he will likely have a clear shot at hitting 3,000. I will say this. I don't believe that Freddie is done when his contract's done. I also don't believe that the Dodgers will be done with him when his contract's done. I think the Dodgers want him to retire a Dodger. And I think the Dodgers really are like, yo, he's going to go in the Hall of Fame as a Dodger, not a Brave. And I think by going that route seals that deal. And he's just meant too much to them and delivered too much that I just don't think they let him not retire a Dodger. But I don't believe now, maybe he doesn't play as much. Maybe, who knows what the situation is. But Freddie Freeman is a guy that I believe retires a Dodger. And I don't think it will be when his contract's up. Dodgers need another left-handed starting pitcher. They do. And, they can get those. They can take flyers on some guys, right? They don't have to go out there and give up a ton to get that. Roy says, I find it kind of hard. Dodgers let Freddie go. I see the Dodgers rewarding Freddie. Exactly. Yeah, just touched on that. Moneybag Chris, there we go. Laker Dodgers for life says, how realistic is Edwin Diaz still a possibility from the Mets after signing Williams? Well, they got the pockets, brother. They got the pockets. You know what? One second, because this is an interesting topic I want to touch on. I also did a video the other day talking about how some of the teams are starting to operate like the Dodgers. If you can't beat them, join them. Not saying from a player's perspective, but from an organization's perspective, join their approach. And the Blue Jays kind of copied, in a way, the Dodgers' way of how they got Blake Snell. Tried to trade for him, tried to sign him, tried a bunch of different ways to get him. Tried to get him on a short 2-year high AAV, tried to trade for him, all these different things. Then when he became flat out free agent, and you're like, look, the only way to get him, long-term deal. 5-year deal. Okay, that's the only way to get him. They did it. They got it done. They did that with Cease, being the Blue Jays. They did that with Cease. That play was right out of the Dodger playbook. Their whole infatuation with him was right out of the Dodger playbook. Now, I say that to say this. Could the Mets and them sending off Nimmo and some of the things that they're doing and trying to change the culture there and get some of the bad guys out of there, the bad guys in the locker room that they've labeled. Does Alonso come back? Like, could they adopt the philosophy of, we are not going to give Edwin Diaz 5 years, $100 million. We've got the money, but we're not going to spend it just because we have it. Could the Dodgers' way of doing business giving the Mets pause in how they operate with Edwin Diaz? Because if they're like, look, if the Dodgers going for a three-peat, needing a closer, aren't going to offer him 5 years, 100, why should we? That's a Dodger mentality, not a Mets mentality. So could the Mets be kind of thinking along the line of the Dodgers? What are the Dodgers offering? Why would we offer more than that? Why would we blow away? Why would we offer $20 million more in the Dodgers just because we have the money? If the Dodgers are even offering 4 years, which I'm not even sure they are. Why would they do that? Great. Mr. Diaz, you want 5 years. That's great. But we'd also want you to be 27 again. We can't get that. So you're not getting 5. 3? You want 3? 3 years between 60 and 60-something-ish? Maybe. We could talk about that. What are the Dodgers offering you? Oh, you're not going to tell us? Well, probably not more than that because you'd be there already. So what are we talking about? Now, the Mets of maybe a year or two ago, the Mets that were out there signing Verlander, the Mets that were signing Scherzer, the Mets that went out there and signed Soto, those Mets, 5 years, 100 mil, done. Diaz back in Queens, baby, done. Hasn't happened. Why? is what I'm thinking, right? So I think the Dodgers' way of operating is starting to penetrate the mentalities of these other teams. And they're like, look, the Dodgers aren't buying a championship. The Dodgers aren't ruining baseball. Hal Steinbrenner just spoke on this. They're not just spending to win. They're winning. So just throwing money at it doesn't do anything. Look at us. Look at the Mets. Look what happened. The Yankees owner came out and said that. That doesn't happen. So for them to say that, the Blue Jays to do what they're doing, and for the Mets to operate how they're operating now, this Dodger mentality is being adopted, y'all. Now, the real question is, will it work with another organization in another city? Will they have the discipline to have the money and not use it? To have the nukes and not fire them? That's the question. I don't have the answers, Sway. I don't have the answers, but I got questions. So I'm starting to think that some of these teams are really trying to piggyback off the Dodger way, the Dodger mentality. I think so. And if that's the case, the funny thing is, it's kind of funny now that it just played out in my head here. The funny thing is trying to adopt the Dodger mentality this offseason could actually end up hurting teams because they're trying to do it on the fly. They haven't done it before. They're maybe a little erratic and undisciplined. And them trying to take the Dodger approach to Diaz may end up leading Diaz to the Dodgers. And Toronto trying to take the Dodger approach with Tucker could lead Bichette to the Dodgers. You see what I mean? So it's there's humor in this. And it'll be very interesting to see. So that's a good question. Right now, again, I've gone back and forth with this on Edwin Diaz. And it's like the more I thought about it, I felt like when the Mets got Williams, I started to feel like that increases their chances to keep Diaz when they got Williams. And I know a lot of people immediately thought Dodgers. But if they're trying to rebuild their bullpen and you got Williams setting up and Diaz closing, good Lord. And then you pull off a trade or sign Scooble. I mean, see what their long-term plan is, what the big picture is. But them signing Williams does not lessen their chance of them retaining Diaz to me. But I do think if they play stupid games with him, they're going to win stupid prizes with him. I think they got to be careful. I think he could absolutely end up a Dodger, but I don't think the Dodgers are going to get into a bidding war for him. They just don't really do that. A lot of people, like the Dodgers really, this is true. The Dodgers really only got into and won a bidding war with one player. You guys know what that is? Let's see in the chat real quick. Let's see in the chat. Throw it in the chat. There's only one player, that the Dodgers got into a bidding war and won. I'm going to type it in the chat real quick, but I'm not going to, hold on. That way you can't say that I'm just going to press enter when it's my turn to send it. There's only one guy the Dodgers entered into a bidding war. Let's see if y'all can get it. One guy. Just one guy. The rest, there was no bidding war. Let's see. I'm going to give you a couple here. Only one guy. Let's see. Come on, y'all. Let's see. Only one. Give a couple more here. The Los Angeles Dodgers have only gotten into and won a bidding war with one player. One player. This chat's a little split, half right, half wrong. And it's Yamamoto. That's it. They did not get into a bidding war with Ohtani. Ohtani set the price. Matter of fact, a team lost out because they went over the price. They offered more. They didn't follow the rules. They didn't stay within the parameters. It's $700 million with this level of deferrals. This is what I want. The Dodgers in Toronto offered it. The Angels wouldn't. The Giants messed around and found out that you need to listen and pay attention. But there was no bidding war for Ohtani. Ohtani set the number. The only bidding war the Dodgers got into and won was with the Yankees, and it was $1 million more than Garrett Cole, which is exactly what I told you would happen 3 days before they signed him. I got to put that video out so people can see. It's time-stamped. I told y'all. So that's the only time. So the Dodgers are not really Chris said offer me. The Dodgers are not going to get into bidding wars with these guys. They're not going to. Showtime said Tyler Glasnow, Teoscar for Red Sox, Garrett Crochet. Not happening. Okay, mind my business. People talking to each other. I remember you was the first with Teo in a Dodgers jersey. Yeah, I remember who did that graphic. Remember, Chris, you remember what I told you? Remember I told you, give me that graphic like what? Like damn near a month before Teo signed. I was like, it's happening. It's happening. Man, the offseason of 2023 was my peak intel. I got to re-release those videos. They're not like re-release. I mean, repost so you can see the dates. That was my peak intel. I had good intel in 2024. I had really good intel in 2024. Tanner Scott, Blake Snell, like I had really good intel on that. But 2023, I didn't miss. At all. I had great intel in 2023. And it's all, there's receipts for all of it. Of course, bro, I'm going to be wrong. I've been wrong. You know what I mean? But what I'm saying, that year, I've never got it all right. In 2023, I got it all right. That was crazy. Tyler Glasnow couldn't stay healthy the whole season, so trade him too. But it works out. They don't need him to stay healthy all year. Jeffrey, go to spring training. We drink. Oh, yeah. I'm drinking on the way to spring training. I'm drinking at spring training. Oh, yeah, for sure. Craig, what's going on, brother? Appreciate you, man. Hope you're having a great night. Thank you for tuning in. Young says Toronto cannot beat LA. No, because it's Toronto, Canada. C-A. Oh, Cantada. You can't. Cantada. Lakers Dodgers for life says, I'm starting to think we have a better chance at Suarez than anyone. Yeah. So they've already met with Suarez twice. When did I? Damn it. I got to go look at my text messages. But this was either over the weekend or Monday. They met with Suarez. So that already happened. So I don't know. I don't know about that. I think the Mets end up with either Diaz or Suarez. I don't know how much Suarez, what his market is. I don't know. But the Dodgers have met with him. They met with him, so they're at least serious. They're at least serious. Young says Lakers beat the Raptors just like the Dodgers beat the Blue Jays. Yup. Dodgers mentality. I like that. Let's put it on a shirt. Man, if only we knew a guy. Only we knew a guy that can just, what do we used to call it, Chris? What do we used to call it? Damn it. Remember when we would have a play would happen in a game and we had the shirt live within an hour? Oh, man. It was crazy. Me and Chris was on some stuff, man. Let's see. Screw it. Sign both Suarez and Diaz. Imagine Scott coming out in the 7th, Suarez in the 8th, and Diaz in the 9th. Now, that would be nuts because you're going to have teams with some pretty filthy bullpens out there, right? And I think it looks like the Padres might be putting some of those guys in the starting rotation because they just can't start. They just can't sign quality starting pitching. They might lose Michael King. So like Mason Miller might end up being a starter for them, which is going to be crazy. Joe says, and the Japanese player ended them in the clutch. Yep. All will be revealed next week. Let's see, that's when everyone was saying, okay. What is the question? I was asking who was the one player that the Dodgers got into a bidding war with and won. Rossman says, man, look, when you get an entire offseason right, you got to. I still can't believe that all happened, right? Even when I was being like told, even when I was thinking, I was like, man, this is crazy. And Yamamoto hit on my birthday too. I was like, man, it was man. What about Gary Sheffield? That's a great idea, Jeffrey. Post those clips. Yeah, because I'm telling you, like, I had someone, it's always funny because no matter what platform you're on, you have a whole different set of goofies. And I had this goofy just hit me on everything. Like, so I just went and I tagged him and all those I did. And that dude DMing was like, holy. he was like, look, I'm a troll, but I gotta give you the credit where the credit is due on this one. Cause yeah, I don't know how you like, and that was like, that'll probably never happen again. That'll probably never happen again. The Drake curse is real. For real. I think Toronto has PTSD with Japanese guys. First Yamamoto, now Rui screwing her. That's true. If the Dodgers did not sign Tanner last year, I believe Dodgers would sign Diaz to a 4-year, $70 million deal to $80 million deal this offseason. Yeah. And look, I mean, the way it's going to, I hate that, like, guys, you're going to have to start really realizing and paying attention to this, that the market for a good setup guy is going to be between $15 to $17 million. And that's where Tanner Scott is. The market for a lights out closer, top tier closer, top 1 or 2 closers in a game is going to be between between 17 and $20 million, right? So Tanner Scott is slotting kind of into that setup money, right? Tanner Scott is not a closer. He's a setup guy. He's a guy you can send out there in the 7th when the heart of the lineup is coming through in the 7th. You send him out there in the 7th or 8th, and you can let your closer go down there and shut it down. But Tanner Scott should be a setup or bridge guy. And top tier setup guys are going to get paid in a Tanner Scott range. So if the Mets sign Diaz, they're going to have Williams and Diaz. So, like I said, if you really want to have that dominant back end of the bullpen to make up for a lot of mistakes that other guys can have, That's what it's going to cost. You are probably going to have to spend somewhere between 32 and $36 million on the back end, two back end guys of your bullpen. It's probably what's going to be the market. Tanner Scott's about 16. So if you get Diaz for 20, that's the 36. That's it. That's what you're going to have to pay. Or you're going to pay two, like a Suarez, Tanner Scott money-ish, maybe a little less. You're going to pay two setup guys who will share a closer role. That's kind of what you're going to be looking at. Kind of, sort of what you're going to be looking at. Toronto, Cantada, exactly. They hated me for that one. When I did that one, when I dropped the Cantada on them, oh, man. I did it in our anthem, too. Oh, man. Oh, Cantada. You blew a 3-2 lead. Mm-mm. You know, I got some of the best engagement of my content creator journey ever. Messing with those fuzzy little Canadians. It was epic. What do you think Kyle Schwarber will land and how much? How much, I don't really know. I think Cincinnati is really in play. I think Philly is in play. I don't know why the Yankees aren't, to be honest. But back to Boston, I could see those would be the four for me. Boston, Reds, Philly, Yankees, right? That would be the four for me for Schwarby. I do like the velocity of Suarez, though. He can take it up to 102. Yep. Laker Dodgers for life says, Jeff, what's the word on Yamamoto, Shohei, and Roki playing the WBC? They're going to play. They're going to start. And the Dodgers are concerned, so they're going to be meeting with Team Japan, trying to see what the plan is, how much they intend to use them, and that's going to be right in the thick of spring training. Those guys typically don't ramp up at that time, so the Dodgers have some concerns. But I believe Japan will, and the Dodgers will map out something that they are both comfortable with. Also, can't forget Fairbanks is still out there. Yes, and so, Fairbanks is a guy who I had been saying or feeling all offseason that he was probably going to end up as a Dodger no matter what. That it was kind of be like the Kirby Yates. They'll sign a guy, they'll be excited about it, and they'll just still end up with Fairbanks. Now, I've been told that might not be the case. I've been told that the Dodgers have some concerns about him and are not as high on him as I once thought. They would sign him, but not as the top guy. Like he would be like, again, like a Kirby Yates after they sign Tanner Scott type of thing. But if they end up with just Fairbanks, from what I'm hearing, they'd be a little disappointed if he was the only like top bullpen addition. They'd be a little disappointed if that was the case. Tanner is a lefty specialist, to be honest. Yeah, and you know what? We basically signed him to keep him from pitching to Ohtani, man. It's really what it was. Schwarber stays in Philly. He might. They're not the favorite right now for him. What it sounded like, they're not the favorite for him. But again, you're only not the favorite until you are. Steph Kent Curry says, Dan, Jeff didn't know you had that intel on the Dodgers. Meaning, yeah, I said, I'm trying to find my text. I don't know if I put that out there, but I definitely texted someone that. I definitely did text someone that. So like I did, like I don't lie, yo. I don't lie. That's not what I'm here for. I'm not a newsbreaker. This is someone else's information, not my own. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not a newsbreaker and never will be. But yeah, I heard that they had already met with him, and this was, I want to say the weekend or Monday. I got to look at my phone. Yeah, Philadelphia low short. They do, but I don't know if they're going to want to meet the money that he's going to ask for. Philly's getting to a point where they're starting to run a little bit of trouble financially, man. Murakami's market has been pretty quiet. Well, yes and no. Yes and no. The Japanese negotiate differently. All right, so just keep that in mind. The Japanese negotiate differently. A lot of stuff doesn't really come out. There could be a market there, and we just don't know about it. I would suspect that we start getting I would say we definitely start to hear his name more and more over the weekend. I would say that. I would say look for his name over the weekend for sure. So starters projected Yamamoto, Snell, Glasnow, Ohtani, Roki, Sheehan, and Stone. River Ryan, I wonder how they will shuffle this. Well, Ryan and Stone coming off of injury. That's going to be wait and see approach, right? There could be setbacks. They could be on inning restrictions. They could be taking it easy on them. Plus, could these other guys, Yamamoto. I would suspect that Yamamoto is going to get a couple phantom IL stints this year just to make sure because of all the work they put him through last year and the playoffs. And then you got Snell, then you got Glass, then you got Ohtani. You got all these guys who are going to be on the IL. That's just old hat. It's going to happen pitching wise. Or they take Ohtani, not IL for Ohtani, but they kind of take him off pitching for a little bit. So that probably will all happen next year. So that depth is probably what's going to really help them because they had no starters last year for about 70% of the season. And now hopefully they'll all be healthy. Let's get sentimental. What's your favorite Vince Scully moment? Oh man, my God, it's too many. Probably Kirk Gibson's home run. I didn't get to see it live, but the call is just so great. So many, man. So many. It's too many to count. But that Kirk Gibson home run still just rings out everywhere, no matter what. It's just it's one of the calls he's known for. So that one for sure. I was not old enough to really be aware of everything baseball wise at the time. I watched baseball. I loved baseball, but my mind wasn't enough, to be a full baseball mind. Dodgers releasing Gosselin was sad. He just couldn't get right, man. Can't get right. When can Yamamoto opt out of his contract? Yeah, after 6 years. And I want to say they also had like a provision in his contract whether he's had Tommy John or not. I gotta revisit that. I don't know if that's a second. But it's after 6 years for sure. He could also, opt out and resign like immediately, or he can there's another. I gotta double check. There's another layer in his contract that's a little weird. I think it was Tommy John related. I gotta look at his. It's been a while since I looked at his contract. I don't think I looked at his contract since after like weeks after he signed. So I've got to take another look at it. Man, I've had to sneeze for like an hour, and it just won't happen. There's no sun to look at. It just won't happen. But where you guys at right now when it comes to Diaz? Let me know your percentage on the Dodgers' chances of getting him. Let me know. And let me know like where you think he ends up, really. Because I think the narrative kind of changes daily with that. I think it's really hard to get a feel for it right now. Can't wait to see breaking news. Dodgers signed Suarez per sources at EmpireJeffTV. I'm not a newsbreaker, never have been, never will be. That is not my expertise. I am only as good as my information, and my information that's their information. I'll talk to a lot of, some people offline about stuff. There's a few that I would trust, like to have those conversations with. But like online, like never. Craig says 50-50 for Diaz. Your name is Jeff. No. Passing's the baseball GOAT, man. When it comes to news breaking, baseball GOAT. I know people pass the word GOAT around like water now, but he's legit baseball GOAT. Bro's name, Jeff has inside scoop on MLB. Like that would be like, man, that would be an incredible thing to be able to have that intel where you can call every team and call star players and call every agent and just have that access. My God. At that point, though, I don't even think I'd want those connects for the intel. I think I'd want them for like the content, the conversations, like interviews, back and forth, story time and stuff like that. I think I would much rather be like a talk show host or a studio host that could have hour-long segments with these guys that's public and be able to go back and forth and talk versus kind of being like in the shadows and kind of having conversations that can never be spoken about. Or you could do both, right? I mean, you could be both. You could be a host that has a ton of like sources and insights. That would be the best of all worlds, but that's really hard to pull off. Which team do you think is better chance to sign Diaz, Dodgers or Mets? I would say the Mets right now. I would say the Mets. One thing I'm just hoping for is Buxton waiving his no trade clause. That would be interesting. Well, we probably wouldn't find that out until it happens, right? But Buxton is a guy um, that could happen. Again, there's a lot of could. I don't know who the favorite or what, like is it Buxton? Is it Quan? Stoward? Like I don't know who, like, if there's a trade, who's the favorite. This I don't know. That I don't know. I do not know. What I do know is we need more likes on this video. So if you haven't done so already, please drop a like on the channel. I mean, a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, become a member to the channel, but at the least, at the bare minimum, drop a like on the video. Help support the channel. We would greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate it. Now let's see real quick. Let's see real quick. What is going on? There we go. Yeah, so make sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. We would appreciate it. Shout out to everyone over on Twitter X. Make sure to follow me on all socials, EmpireJeffTV everywhere. IG, TikTok, YouTube, like I said, Twitter X, Twitch, Kick, Facebook, everywhere. Give your boy a follow on all platforms. Suarez and Tanner were teammates with the Padres. I believe Tanner was kind of a setup guy for Suarez. So he was a setup guy. They would bring him in essentially whenever they faced Ohtani in the playoffs, right? But yeah, he was used more as a setup guy in San Diego. So you had a bunch of guys over there. The Padres had a really solid bullpen, man. You had Tanner Scott, you had Suarez, you had Estrada, you had was it Morejon? You had you had Adam. You had a lot of these guys that were just coming in and just flat out getting the job done, right? One after another. So Tanner Scott was kind of coming up when they needed that guy to shut down the lefties, post seventh inning, whenever that was. Should we start expecting a quiet offseason when how every Dodger report is tempering expectation? MLG, I appreciate you. I don't know, because like I said, I don't really start thinking I don't really start thinking teams are non-aggressive until after the winter meetings. So by the end of next week, I would expect conversations and narratives and storylines and some traction to be there by the end of next week. So the winter meetings kick off Sunday. I would expect over the weekend and next week for things to really start to pick up the pace. So I wouldn't really judge anything like right now. I wouldn't do that right now. I think the Dodgers would be interested on Diaz on a 3-year 20. Yeah, 3-year 60. I think they would have interest. I think they absolutely would. I don't know if Diaz has interest on that right now. Who do you think will replace Josh Barnes? Man, I don't know. One thing I would like to see too is the velocity from Graterol, Henriquez, and Suarez. Velocity, but location. Let me see that Yamamoto contract real quick, because let's see. That just popped in my head. Let's see. Where's the Yamamoto contract? So the Dodgers, I don't know, like, I don't know who they would, really replace him with, because they've just got a really like deep organization. So I would assume someone that's already there. You got Friedman and Farhan kind of advising the Lakers situation. I don't believe that they're really, really like crazy involved on personnel moves. I think they're just advising them how to really like build a front office, and just someone to kind of lean on, you can talk to without leaks coming out. So I still think, you've got those guys kind of advising and helping there. You just lose a front office guy, so they'll get some. I don't know who it is, but might just be someone they already have, because that organization is already pretty deep. Why is this Yamamoto contract not loading? One thing I would like to see too. Okay, said that already. Stop it, Jeffrey. Brock Stewart. Yeah, I mean, if he can stay healthy, right? If he can stay healthy. That's the thing. All these guys coming back is what's really going to be interesting. The Dodger bullpen could self-correct if the dudes are just healthy, right? They could really self-correct. They really, really could. You guys will never hear me stop saying this. Bullpens are volatile. You could have a horrible year one year, a fantastic year the next, and vice versa. Phillips, I think, is going to come back. Like I said, I've heard it multiple times that they will probably look to bring him back once rosters expand or when he gets closer to being healthy. And that's why I think we have a better chance at Suarez. Yeah, like I said, they've met with him. So if he's a guy that they really like, and if they've met with him, I'm sure they've already talked to the guy he hit with that pitch in Ohtani. And I think it's a possibility. I think they would sign him if the money's right and they missed out on Diaz and Ohtani's cool with it, which I believe he is. I would at this point, I think Suarez might be a little more realistic than Diaz, but my mentality on that continues to switch. It continues to switch. I can't get a real feel for it. I still think that Diaz is back to the Mets. But if the Mets fumble, I've heard from at least 3 people that Toronto is on Diaz. Like they are aggressive on him, but they haven't offered 5 years. I don't think anyone's offered the 5th year. So we'll see if they get a little desperate there and kind of try to jump it. Do you think Suarez might be a two-year guy, 3rd-year option type of guy, or a 1+1? I could see that. I can definitely see that. I could, but as usual, we're gonna have to wait and see. Because like I said, this will be one of those like really interesting off seasons because it's the off season prior to a potential lockout. So we're seeing how teams are reacting to that. Who do you think will handle the starting pitcher workload this season? Our starting pitchers will have less rest because of the playoffs, World Baseball Classic, and Snell and Glass now prone to injuries. We need to be fresh for the postseason. Well, that's where the depth really is going to come into play. Like I said, the list of names you guys put out there, the depth and the guys who you got some guys in the bullpen who could start too. So I think the Dodgers starting rotation, as long as they're healthy, like if you got a guy on an IL for 15 days, cool. Maybe misses a start or two, no big deal. But I think they've got the depth. The depth will set you free, my friends. Always has, always will. The depth will set you free. So appreciate y'all for tuning in tonight. I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down. I gotta go walk Lucky. He's over here getting a little antsy. So appreciate y'all for tuning in as always, man. Shout out to Miggy Ro for getting that final year deal with the Dodgers to retire a Dodger. I love it. Love it. Tail in the news, which I think is a complete BS report. And we will see what comes next for the Los Angeles Dodgers. So thank y'all for tuning in. Drop a like if you haven't done so already. Share the video, man. Put it out there into the universe. Help spread our wonderful little community here, man. I would appreciate that. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. And I'll probably catch you guys sometime here tomorrow night. So appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Y'all stay safe. Enjoy your Thursday. Enjoy your Friday. Let's go Dodgers. Let's go Lakers. I'm out of here, y'all. Peace.